Absent.
Supervisor Battle,
Absent.
Councilman Boardway,
Present.
Councilman Keating.
Present.
Councilman Keating, pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And good evening. Thank you all for coming down tonight. A couple of little preliminary things. Supervisor Ballo sends his best wishes. Something came up he had to take care of. Councilman Genzel also sends his apologies. He's with his son right now. It's divide and conquer at their house tonight. Two kids going two different directions. Also apologize for the lack of immediate access to the building. Our contractors were able to come in this afternoon, put the absolute final coat on the blacktop around the building. Unfortunately, because they chose to do that on one of the hottest days we've had, it was their recommendation earlier this afternoon they could keep all vehicle traffic off of that blacktop for at least 24 to 48 hours. It's stayed so hot today that anybody even turning their tires or parking a vehicle could cause ruts in that fresh blacktop. So we did have to roll off all of the immediate access to the building. We apologize for that. We didn't find that out till late this afternoon, and we did not have time to really notify folks that there'd be a little bit of a walk up to the building. But that's what's going on there, but it does look fantastic. Moving at this point to our regular business. Item number 1 will be correction and adoption of the minutes from our August 3rd, 2016 meeting. I did have the opportunity to review those minutes. They are correct in all respect and require no additions, changes, or deletions, and I move they be adopted.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Item number 2, consideration of all fund bills. Councilman Munger.
Yes, I was able to review all of the bills and would like to make a motion that we approve the bills totaling $197,412.91.
And I'll second that.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Carried.
Item number 3 is correspondence. 2 correspondence appear on the agenda tonight. First one is the New York State Department of Transportation letter. This has to do with funding for support of transportation. There is nice $8.7 million in funding that's going to be available through the New York State Department of Transportation over the next year or so. Basically, some of these will be distributed, but what it has to do with is more for congestion mitigation and air quality improvement programs, encouraging bike paths and things like that. That's received and filed, and we'll take that under consideration. Item number 2 is Erie County Environmental and Planning public notice. It is an open enrollment period under the Agriculture and Marketing Law. Again, that is received and filed. What that has to do with specifically is people who want to designate a portion of their own private property into an agricultural or marketing district. Essentially, New York's done a lot of things in the last 2 years to change some of the agriculture and marketing laws to encourage business prosperity, things like that. A lot of this has to do with the folks that are doing microbreweries, growing apples for wine production, things like that. Most of the folks that are eligible for that are already well aware of it. Item number 4 on the agenda, moving to new business. Requests from the floor. I'd ask you limit it to 3 minutes per person. Come up to the microphone, give us your name and your address, please.
Good morning. My name is Frank Lasowski. How's everyone today? Good. Okay, regarding all the fill being brought in on Rockwood Road, I did call the Federal Department, Environment and Planning, EPA. I also called the state. I met them in person, the DEC, and I called the County Environment and Planning. And all 3 of them definitely indicated that a town permit should have been issued for the amount of fill being brought in. They all stated that It's a little different story when you bring in 2 or 3 dump truck loads of topsoil for your lawn or something. But so far, there's been over 210-wheel dump truck loads of fill being brought in there, and nothing. And according to EPA and DEC, they won't touch it unless the town issues a permit, and then they can work off of that. Otherwise, they can't do it. Town must issue, all right, Phil, oh, I did check into it, the fill's coming from the town of Hamburg. From Hamburg, okay, not the town of Hamburg, it's coming from Hamburg. The water, I now all the more reason I won't drink the water. And I wanted to thank Jeff Kenzel for his trying to get the water line extended so that we can drink the water again, instead of buying 2 to 3 cases of water, so I have water that I drink and I don't have to worry about lead or any of that other junk in it. And I was also going to tell him that our governor's coming to town with a wallet full of ones. Maybe you could talk him into helping pay for half the water line or something. What else? Oh, and another point of information, even if you are a farming endeavor, milking cows or whatever, and for the number of the quality or quantity of fill brought in, would still need a town permit. Farmers are not exempt from acquiring a permit to haul in this number of loads of fill. That I got from the EPA and the DEC. That's it. That was good enough. And thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Butch.
Thank you.
Clive Rucker from 6910 Boston Cross Road. I want to thank the town for the nice job they did putting the drainage in. There's only one problem. They should have had the contractor, when he got done, have to pave the damn road. The town came up, patched up all the spots where they dug up. The 2 receivers that are setting in the road are about 2 inches below what they should be. Every time a car or truck comes down off the hill, especially 5 o'clock in the morning, with trucks, especially trucks with ladders on, bang, 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 or trailers. If you would sit in my house in the evening, sometimes around supper time, you would think there was an accident on the Boston Cross Road. I've talked to all my neighbors. They all feel like I do, but none of them will come up here and talk to you people. I guess they're scared of you. But anyhow, I'd like to have the highway superintendent or town board member come up and take a look at this. The backhoe that was doing the work on the blacktop, when he turned, he dug up the highway and made like speed bumps in a road. And when the cars come up through, either coming up from 391 or coming down, we get noise. The noise is terrible. Our houses are only 30 feet. Some are 10 feet. Mine's only about 10 feet, my bedroom from the road. The other places, the other neighbors are no more than 20 or 30 feet off the road. Our bedrooms are right there. I just think that if any of the town board members lived there, you bet we'd have that road fixed. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I ask you, Mr. Rucker? Excuse me, can I ask you, can you tell me which 2 receivers you're talking about? Is there one right in front of your house?
There's one on the north side, on the Boston Cross Road.
How far up?
It's right across from the first house next to the parking lot,
Okay.
to the church parking lot.
Right.
And the other one is, I believe it's right in the middle of the road, not too far from the other one, really.
Okay.
It's a
Coming
crossover.
towards Boston State or going back up towards Cole?
Oh, no. Coming back towards
Boston State.
Boston State Road.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. It's all they have to do is put a couple risers on there. That's what they should have done to begin with before they put the blacktop in there, is put a couple 2-inch risers on there, and you would eliminate the problem.
Joanne Stang, 7780 Eddie Road, Colden. I have a problem here. And Jennifer, I think you're the one that I'm, have to talk to. I don't know, last time I was here at a board meeting, you deputized your third deputy clerk that you have?
That's correct.
Okay. 3 times I've been down to the town hall to get a hunting license.
Mhm.
3 times the place has been closed. Last I knew, you had 3 deputies.
3 deputies that are unpaid. They
Unpaid,
volunteer their
right.
time.
Well, you know
So
what?
they volunteer their time when they
Personally,
can.
I'm not really interested in that because
Well,
you have
you
2
should be.
you have 2
You should
part-time
be.
clerks that were appointed to you,
They were
to use.
appointed to the supervisor.
to the supervisor,
Yeah, they
not
weren't
to you.
appointed to me,
You
no.
can use them though.
No, I'm not using them.
Right, you're
I
not
was
using
denied-
them.
listen,
So it's
Joanne,
not, no.
I was denied the opportunity to even interview those girls. I was told
Kindly let the
no.
residents
It was
speak.
Okay.
not,
That's okay.
Let
I
the
don't
residents
understand all
interrupt
of
you,
this.
Councilman, when you're speaking. Please don't interrupt me.
It's the residents' turn.
She asked me a question and I'm answering her.
Let her finish asking
Let
her
me
question.
finish.
Okay,
Stop
enough.
interrupting me.
Enough is enough. All I want to know is why you have 3, you appointed 3 deputy clerks. You have 2 clerks that you could use. I
I'm
don't
not
care what
using
the
them.
whole problem is. Right, you're not using
No,
them.
I will not.
So it's okay that we're paying your salary to come down here and be inconvenienced 3 times to get a hunting license. That's okay with you? Well,
no,
this
it's
is
not
why,
okay with
well,
me.
this is
It's
why I
not
have a
okay
real
with me,
problem when I
Joanne.
go around town, seeing I support the town clerk.
And I'm very
Yes,
happy
we
that
do
people support
yeah,
you.
we support you, but I don't support someone that's not doing their job when you're appointed
I
to
am
do
doing
it.
my job.
Then
I'm
why
doing
were
my
you
job.
closed from like noon one day all the way to 1 o'clock the next
Because
day?
I have town clerk meetings that I need to attend to, just like these gentlemen have
And you have
meetings.
deputy clerks that you can't trust
I have
in
deputy
your
clerks
office?
that are volunteer, that also have other jobs, that come when they can come.
Not all of them have other jobs.
They have lives though, Joanne.
Well, so do the rest of us, and I have a job,
Okay.
and I'm trying to get a
Well, I
hunting license
apologize,
here in the
I
town.
sincerely
No, you
apologize
don't.
for your
That you're not
inconvenience.
sorry enough.
Yes, I am.
And I'm getting really upset with seeing all
Well,
these signs when
Then
we're
you speak
supporting
with
you.
your town board and you tell them to give my deputies back their pay.
Well, you have,
They were
no.
here for 8
That's
years
not our
and
problem.
4 years.
You
Yes,
fight-
it should be your problem,
It is
though.
our problem when we come
It
down
should be
here.
your problem.
It is our problem, and we're trying to do that. But you know what? I don't think we should be inconvenienced by you have a little attitude problem with everyone.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
I
that's what.
apologize for that. I apologize that you think that I have an attitude problem. I'm
Well,
very
you know,
sorry
when
for
I
that.
come down here 3 times and there's other people that come down here for licenses, dog
Well,
licenses and everything.
I have
And
not
that's fair
had
to
one
us.
other person complain about my
Well-
hours or call my office or ask me.
Oh, trust me, you
What?
will have them.
Well, then have them come see
Okay.
me. Please do.
And they'll
told
get the same
everybody-
answer, you just don't
Okay.
care.
Yes, I do
So
care.
that's all I have to say.
I absolutely do care.
Thank
And my one deputy sitting in this room right now, Joanne, why
Yes,
don't
I
you speak
know.
with her and ask her why she won't come down here and work for free?
Oh.
When she was getting paid to do so for the last 3.5 years.
She didn't apply for the job when
She doesn't have to apply for a job that
What
she
supports that, but-
was appointed
Would you
to
like to
by
see the
me.
letters?
Right. She
And
was
I will
appointed-
show you that in writing.
She was appointed to an unpaid position, the deputy town clerk
A
position.
deputy
is an
town clerk position that had been paid by this town board for the last 6 years, that all of a sudden they decided they no longer wanted to pay. Because
Correct.
they didn't like the 2 girls that were in there,
No,
plain and
this board
simple.
makes-
I think we have another town resident who would like to speak.
We do.
Kenneth Klopfer, 5245 Keller Road. I've dealt with the town clerk many times over the years, and it's been nothing but great. And the trouble started when this town board got their fingers into her business.
It's our business, sir, just so you know.
Well, she was doing a great job until you guys started all this deputy clerk rigmarole. That's your fault.
No,
Yes, it is.
It is.
That's the way I see it.
personnel decision.
No, yeah, what do you want, your girlfriend or your wife to be town clerk? You're trying to get her to quit.
What goes around comes around, dude. Let him speak.
You're trying to get, yeah, you're interrupting me.
Where's Marty tonight,
Okay.
huh?
Hey,
wait a
She's
minute while I'm
being
talking.
compensated
You know,
for
it's
taking
you.
Marty's job right now.
Do you want your wife or
You're being
your girlfriend to be
compensated?
town clerk? You're trying to get her to quit. That's what you're trying to do.
My wife would take a horrendous pay cut to take that position, trust me, sir.
Yeah,
Trust me.
she works for his business.
I just think the town board here is acting like a bunch of 3-year-old kindergartners
Thank you for
in your pulleys.
What would you like? Excuse me, Broadway, what do you want? What did you ask me?
Nothing. Didn't
How
do
much
anything,
did
I
you do
said
this?
something.
Couldn't hear you.
Couldn't hear you. I really couldn't hear you at all.
You're all set.
Edward Kane, 5640 Rice Road in Boston. I'm here on behalf of our chief, Pat Penrod from Boston Fire Company. Pat got called out of town tonight for work, so he wasn't able to come, but he asked me to read this, so. Okay, here's what he wrote. At last month's meeting, there were a few things brought up regarding myself and the Boston Fire Company. I had a meeting with the town board shortly after that, and so today I am simply here to speak, and as I say, I'm speaking on his behalf because he got called out of work to go out of town, to speak to the residents and to go on record to explain that what was brought up last month was mostly a mixture of opinion and twisted facts, which I would like to clarify with town residents. It was brought up that Boston did not have Patchen Fire Company on our run cards because of egos and personal issues, and this is certainly not true. Run cards, for those of you who don't know, run cards are cards that we have, like response cards that are set up for a specific type of call for a specific type or specific area. We will set that up with Hamburg Fire Control. It's like an automatic call that, you know, this company gets called for that specific district and area and a type of call. Okay, when I took over as chief in October of 2014, Patchen was already taken off the run cards by the past chief. Within weeks of becoming chief, Patchen, Chief Gallagher, and I sat down to discuss the run card issue. After going over a few things, I basically told them my concern was safety issues I had with things I saw from their members, both responding to and also on the fire ground, and we discussed specific examples. Chief Gallagher mentioned on his end that the SOPs, which is standard operating procedures, that they had were junk, and very few of his members at the time had even seen them, so that he was going to completely rewrite them. And SOPs are standard operating procedures, or guidelines that we follow in everything we do related to firematics. It's basically a book to follow, a rule book of things that we do and policies, procedures. And I was satisfied that Chief Gallagher would come up with a new set of SOPs as agreed, and we had an agreement by the end of the meeting that once he completed the new SOPs and his members had better, safer guidelines to follow to ensure safety for both the Boston Fire Company members and his company members as well, that I would put them back on the run cards. The job of the fire company is to protect and assist the residents in their time of need. My job is to make sure its members go home safely to their families after doing so. In October or November of 2015, I heard that Patchen's president and chief were both upset that I had wanted to see their SOPs. This was not my intent, so I immediately called Chief Gallagher and told him very clearly that I did not care about seeing them, and I would take his word for it that they were done. When they were done, he would just let me know. Even though I was very clear with him that I did not want to see them, for some reason, it was brought up at last month's meeting with the board that I did want to see them, and that is false. In May of 2016, with still not hearing that they had completed the SOPs, I had a conversation with Chief Gallagher and told him I had modifications to make to my run cards anyways, and when I made those changes and submitted the new cards to dispatch, that I would add Patchen to them as well. As of 3 weeks ago, Patchen is on Boston's run cards, just as I told Chief Gallagher they would be back in May. There is 8 zones in our fire district with 7 different call types per zone for a total of 56 pages of run cards. This does take a little bit of time. Being a volunteer with a full-time job and a family, I do not think that 2.5 months is unreasonable. From the very beginning, I never expected it would take so long to have our safety concerns taken care of. I just wanted to ensure the safety of my members. We regularly invite both Patchen as well as North Boston to train with us. If there were egos or problems with their members on personal levels, we wouldn't be inviting them, but we do. We always do. Also last month, I was called a liar in that I told the town board that Patchen would be on the run cards for our most recent contract. This is also false, and that can be confirmed with Supervisor Ballo, because he had contacted us and we talked about it, and he was okay with that. He knew that they were not on the run cards. And he said, we're going to sign the contract anyways. I have not lied, not to Chief Gallagher, nor the town board. I am just looking out for the safety of my members and want everyone to go home to our families at the end of the day. I hope in the future we can work out these issues amongst ourselves and continue providing a great service to our town as volunteers. If any resident south of Hillcroft Drive, since that is our primary coverage area, in the future ever has any question, concerns, suggestion, or just want to discuss the fire company, please don't hesitate to call me. My personal number is on the town's website and also boston-ny.com. The town board also has my permission to give my number to residents, since public relations is a good portion of my job. Thank you for listening tonight, and stay safe. Regards, Patrick Penrod, Chief, Boston Fire Company. Thank you.
And thank you very much for reading that. Tell Patrick also, thank you. Definitely the comments that were made at that last meeting warranted a response. We appreciate that. So, anyone else? Moving on. We have 2 appointments to the Boston Emergency Squad. Councilman Kenny.
Thank you. I have 2 appointments to the Boston Emergency Squad. The first appointment to their squad, at their squad meeting on August 10th, 2016, they approved the membership of Emily Larkowski, I believe it's pronounced? Laskowski, sorry, thank you. And at this time, I'd like to make a motion to approve Emily to the Boston Emergency Squad.
I'll second that.
The second appointment at the same meeting, August 10th, 2016, would be Melissa Laskowski. And I'd like to make a motion to approve Melissa to the Boston Emergency Squad.
I'll second that also.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating,
Yes.
and that is for the appointments of both.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
Item number 3, it's an application for use of facilities for the North Boston Fire Company. It was like Bob Hollinger, Don is here. What we normally do, we usually don't accept these until after the first of the calendar year. This is for your gala for next summer, but it is time stamped, and it's obviously the first one received for next year, and it is one that covers those 3 days, which we always kind of block aside anyway. Unfortunately, officially, we have to table it. What we'll do is we'll table it, we'll bring it back on at the very first meeting of the year, and it will be approved then. It's just the way we have the thing written is we can't entertain any formal requests until at least the new calendar year starts. That's the way we've kind of always done it. So
the past year, our problem is the ticket's got to be printed in November.
right. I think we did that. We did that last year too.
Well, for 9 years.
Right. I know exactly. We always have the same dates. I will talk to the full board when everybody's present, and maybe we can find a way to make a loophole and do it at the next meeting. Just officially right now, because we're down a few guys tonight, and we didn't have a chance to all talk downstairs. So that's officially what we do. But I'll check with Marty and Jeff also. And I know these 2 gentlemen here have no problem with it. We just want to be on the safe side because we don't want to start a precedent that other folks are then going to make us follow.
Appreciate it.
So make a motion to table their request at this time.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Motion's carried.
And another application of use of facilities for Deborah Sawyer at Cousins.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Acting Supervisor. We have a request, application for use of facility by Deborah Sawyer and Cousins for the North Boston Meadow Drive Ball Stadium, or whatever you want to call that. It is going to be for the date 9/10 of 2016, which is this upcoming Saturday at 12 p.m. for a softball game. Number of people that will be attending will be 25. They will not be serving alcohol. It is a private party and it is not a public special event. They have paid their fees for both the use of facility and the bathrooms there. And I would like to make a motion to approve this pending a copy of insurance for the use of facilities.
I'll second that.
Councilman Munger,
Yes.
Councilman Boardway,
Yes.
Councilman Keating.
Yes.
Carried.
Next on our agenda is item number 5. What this is, and Supervisor Val apologizes because this is something that he was involved in right from the onset. There, as most folks know, July 16th of 2015, there was a rather horrendous accident which took place in the town of Boston. We are blessed in this town, as I've said 100 times, with a tremendous corps of volunteers, volunteer firefighters, volunteer paramedics, volunteer EMS folks. I was actually one of the first paramedics in Erie County years and years ago, so I personally know how much training and time is devoted to that. And I also know that now it's even more, it's greater. And we actually get people that do this in town for free. They put their lives on the line when the pager goes off or the text comes through now, things like that. But they saved a life on July 16th of 2015 in this town. There was proclamations done at the Firemen's Convention that was held in Cattaraugus County, which was previously already presented by Supervisor Ballo, and Dylan Robert Williams was also present, is my understanding, from that, but we would like to just reiterate the proclamations at this time. It's my understanding that I see some of these folks are here tonight. I would read these and just ask that you stand so you can be acknowledged. The first one is Lynn Gerber. And whereas Lynn Gerber is a resident of the town of Boston, and whereas Lynn is a member of the Boston Emergency Squad, and Lynn is an emergency medical technician as well as a registered nurse. And whereas on July 16th, 2015, she was one of the first responders of an accident in the town of Boston involving a young man and a brush hog. And whereas Lynn aided in the life-saving efforts of Dylan Robert Williams, and now therefore be it resolved that the Boston Town Board, on behalf of Dylan and Robert Williams and the residents of the town, wish to express our deepest gratitude to Lynn Gerber for her exemplary standards and dedication to service of the town of Boston and the community on this 5th day of August 2016, and that is signed by Supervisor Martin A. Ballo from the town of Boston.
Councilman Borley? Yes, sir. Unfortunately, the others were not able to make it because we have our company meeting tonight. So Lauren and Matt and Chris are all at the meeting. Well, Matt's working.
Okay.
Just so you know.
Oh, no, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. Thank you. There are additional proclamations. They are all essentially identical. All of these folks played an integral part in saving that young man's life. Again, it was a horrendous accident that resulted in, unfortunately, losing both of his legs. But he's alive to this day. Again, through all of their assistance and immediate life-saving efforts, this fellow went home. He's walking now. He's on the road to recovery. The other responders were Warren Whitting, who's a member of the Boston Volunteer Fire Company and also an emergency medical technician. Matthew Whitting, who is a volunteer firefighter with the Boston Volunteer Fire Company and an emergency medical technician.
Both last names are Whiting.
Whiting, I'm sorry. Christopher Kiefhaber is a resident of the town of Boston, a member of the Boston Volunteer Fire Company and an emergency medical technician. He is also serving at the time of the captain of the Boston Volunteer Fire Company. And Jeff Nielsen, who's a supervisor for rural metro and an emergency medical technician. Again, I'd like to recognize all of them for the dedication and the service to the town and in assisting this young gentleman.
Thank you for that.
Item number 6 on our agenda is the FEMA Highway Roof Project. We, the members of the board that are present tonight, met with the contractor and one of the contract coordinators downstairs at 6:30 this evening to review this project, what this is. As a result of the November storm in 2014, the town did become eligible through a county cooperative, reaching a minimum goal to get some FEMA money for some of the work that needed to be done in town as damage repair from that storm. The barn for the highway department in the back there is one of the projects. This particular project, we've entered into a cooperative agreement, so we have essentially the contractor for the work, I'm sorry, not the contractor, but we have the type of repair for the building in place that we want done, the roofing system and everything else. We have 3 contractors that have put bids in for this particular project, but because the bids were acquired by an outside contractor, we're going to have our town attorney look into a little bit of the newer state laws that are in place for these cooperative agreements. So that's held up right now. We are going to table that tonight, but again, this work does need to be done before the end of the year for this FEMA money to be available. Connie Miner, our grant consultant, was down there with us also for this meeting. So at this point in time, though, the board members that are present are very familiar with where we are with this. I make a motion that the FEMA Highway Roof Project be tabled.
Second?
Councilman Munger?
Yes.
Councilman Bordway?
Yes.
Councilman Keating?
Yes.
Motion's carried.
And item number 7 on our agenda is a proposal for the installation of an outdoor ice rink. We do in fact have a proposal for that. This is Councilman Genzel's, one of his little work in progresses, and it's 87 degrees out, so I don't know that we need to necessarily act on an ice rink today. So I make a motion that that be tabled also until Councilman Genzel's present and can more fully advise residents of exactly what the plan is.
I'll second.
Councilman Munger?
Yes.
Councilman Bordway?
Yes.
Councilman Keating?
Yes.
Carried.
As far as reports and presentations at this point in time, Town Clerk.
First, I want to apologize to everybody for not